Welcome to Thinking Out Loud podcast. My name is Brittany, and I'm so grateful that you have chose to spend some of your time with me today. Happy New Year! We're officially in 2026, which is crazy. It's been a decade since 2016, which makes me want to spiral, I'm not gonna lie, but coming into the new year, we always hear these ideas of, new year, new me, people wanting to completely rebrand themselves and change the way they do their hair or the way they do their outfits to fit what they think people should do at their age and stage. And don't get me wrong, I love a rebrand when I feel like, hey, this aligns with me and what I feel is right for me. That is always a positive thing to really come into yourself. But I feel like every year, New Year's resolutions, like I need to stop acting a certain way, or I need to lose weight, or I need to, whatever it may be. I think that that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself every year, and I'm victim to it. I know a lot of people are. But, I think that instead of wanting to completely change everything in one go, doing it gradually throughout the year and aiming for the things that you love and the things that you enjoy or the things that interest you is a very beautiful thing to do, and taking your time and really learning, like, hey, maybe this doesn't really work for me, I'm gonna try something new, really finding the things that you want to put your energy towards, if that makes sense. So I think that, really reflecting and taking that time to really sit with yourself and be okay with that silence and that unknowing void is really, really important. So today, let's just dive into it. Let's say you're listening to this while you're driving to a job that you're grateful for, but you secretly resent, which is typically what's going on for me. Or you're lying in bed at night and you're having all of these thoughts like, is this it for me? Is this what I have to look forward to? You're exactly where you're supposed to be, because I'm struggling with that, and I'm sure if you're struggling with that and I'm struggling with that, there are plenty of people who are struggling with this same idea and they just don't talk about it, which talking about these things is good. So I guess I'll start from the beginning for me, and maybe my journey and my story will resonate with a lot of you, which I think it will. So I graduated college last May, and I got a bachelor's degree. Woo! I was a little bit late to the game. I graduated, I want to say a year after my peers, just because a lot of life circumstances. I'll get into it. And it sounds impressive until you realize that I mostly got my degree out of fear and obligation, which is not a new idea for a lot of people. I always knew that I had to go to college. No one in my family ever went, so I felt like it was this unspoken assignment that I was kind of handed when do you start applying for colleges? Junior year. Like my junior year of college. I mean, it was always an idea, like, get good grades so you could get into a good college, It was just like this thing that was like, all right, you're a junior in high school, start planning your future now, kid. Even though, which is crazy, how old was I? I was like 16, 17, and I had to pick my career for the rest of my life. Amazing. And it's always like this idea, like, your family, like, you're the chosen one, don't mess it up for us. And, being the people pleaser that I am, I'm like, okay, instead of what I actually want to do, In high school, I always wanted to do something creative, like musical theater, singing, performing. I was really that annoying girl in high school, and I was looking at this college in LA with my friends, and that's where I was living at the time. I mean, I grew up in California, Southern California. So I was looking at this college and I was fully romanticizing my future. Like, I was, like, as annoying as it sounds, like, I was in the opening montage of a coming of age movie, and I was like, I'm graduating, like, this is gonna be it for me. And, and then it kind of got stopped by, and, it's out of love, but my parents told me to, be realistic, be practical, think about your job security. Is this really gonna be here for you in the future? 1 in a million chance. Like, do you really want to take that chance? And, which, to be fair, like I said, comes from love, but it also quietly teaches you that dreams are cute until they're inconvenient. And, we moved out of state for my dad's job. I went, at the time I was going to community college, and I transferred, and, I picked up a major that seemed interesting enough, and somewhere along the way, I guess I let that dream die, singing as a hobby instead, not really doing it for anybody, and, I let my dream die. It sounds dramatic, but it was just quietly, like, I just let it take a nap, and I never woke it up. College was really weird for me. I dreaded it, but also I feel like a lot of people could relate to this, but it gave me time before I really had to step into adulthood. And, don't get me wrong, my college experience wasn't easy. I mean, I worked part-time the entire time that I was in college. I still lived at home. And I know that I should be grateful for, because a lot of people don't have that. And I am, but there's still this thing, like, I didn't get to chase what I loved or get the full college independence experience everyone talks about. And it's this strange in-between grief, like, kind of mourning a life that I never had. And, after graduation, I was really lucky. I found a job a few months later, and to be honest, I didn't choose it. I kind of just snatched it up and grabbed it, like, out of fear, fear that I wouldn't find anything else, or fear that this was my only shot, because we know the employment crisis in 2025, all these college graduates, and nobody could find jobs. And I was just like, oh, you want me, I'll take the job. And, now I'm here, working in corporate America, still living at home, paying off my student loans, and sending emails that I really don't care about. And I can literally feel the life being sucked out of me, as dramatic as that sounds. Like, is this what people mean by when you were a kid and they were like, enjoy your youth, because if it all ends. And it's just like, dang. Like, there's this void and this emptiness, like, living to work instead of working to live. And the worst part is, I know there's more for me, and I could feel it, and I'm kind of stuck in this loop right now where it's like, I don't know what I want, but I do know what I want. It's just, it's the fear of, like, can I? Or, having that idea of, like, this is just how it is, kid. Like, you're an adult now, figure it out. Everyone else has to do it. Just get up and go to work and enjoy your weekends. Live for the weekends. And, while it's like letting my parents and honestly everyone else stay in the driver's seat of my life, because I constantly think, I know what I want to do, but will that make them happy? Will they be fulfilled with me as their child? It's like, and I saw this thing, okay, little musical theater reference. If you know, you know, okay? Hadestown is having a revival right now because Jack Wolf is playing Orpheus, and everyone is losing their mind because he's incredible, absolutely incredible. Wow, voice of an angel, just okay, different topic for a different time. But there's a line in Hadestown that I know, Orpheus is described as someone who can see the way the world could be in spite of the way it is. And that has come back to haunt me ever since I've fallen down the Hadestown route again with all of the revivals. Anyways, because that's how it feels. I mean, seeing possibility, feeling potential, and still waking up every day doing something that you don't align with. And I want to say this clearly, that I'm grateful for my job, and gratitude doesn't cancel out emptiness. And it's not that I'm afraid of hard work or that I'm lazy. It's just I'm unfulfilled, and that matters more than we're taught to admit. I think we let that kind of fall into the back burner. Like, just provide for yourself, work, and die. Like, that's kind of the vibe. And going into this new year, I want to choose me, and I want to be in the driver's seat of my life, and I want to stop living for approval from other people, and I want to stop living to be the daughter that my parents, brag about if it costs me my happiness. And I know I'm not alone in this, and that's why I wanted to say this out loud, because at the end of the day, this is our life. And what is the point if we're not happy with the choices we make and we're not living authentically? Like, loving who we want, dressing how we want, doing our hair and makeup in ways that make us feel ourselves and feel beautiful, and liking, the music and the shows and the books and the random niche things that we like, and not apologizing for it. True authenticity and no disclaimers for anybody else. And, doing what makes you feel good and riding that train, and the people who are meant for you, they will find you, and community always follows authenticity. And I think we forget that. And I feel like I've spent so long shrinking myself and fitting into a box built by other people, being the good, agreeable, people-pleasing version of myself. And honestly, I'm tired of it. So this year, I'm choosing me, though it's, uncertain and messy and still figuring it out. It's still mine, And if you're in this place too, just know you're not behind, and you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. We're just finally waking up, and honestly, that feels like the beginning of something. And I think part of what makes this phase so confusing is that on paper, you would say I did everything right. I graduated high school, I went to college, I got my degree, I found a job, I'm being responsible. But why does it feel like I'm still failing some invisible test? If that makes sense? No one really prepares you for how weird it feels when you finally get what you're told you want, and you're like, wait, is this what I wanted? Like, this is the prize, like, for my case, a desk, a email signature, and a reoccurring meeting that honestly could have been an email. Sometimes I feel dramatic by feeling this way, but people would kill for stability. And my brain immediately goes to, okay, so you're ungrateful and sad. Pick a struggle. Like, but two things can be true at once. I am grateful and I am unfulfilled. And I can appreciate security and crave something more. And honestly, I think a lot of us are quietly mourning the versions of ourselves we didn't get to become. In the past we didn't take because they felt too risky, too unrealistic, or too inconvenient for other people. Like, I saw this TikTok the other day, and that's another thing. I'm trying to stop on. Doom scrolling. I am victim to it. A lot of people are victim to it. Oh my god, I need to stop. But there was a video where, when I was in high school, I did color guard. And I loved color guard. I was so good at color guard. And I saw this girl, she was posting, and she said, like, all of this, just to never pick up a flag or never pick up a weapon again. Because, not an actual weapon. Color guard, they have rifles and sabers. Sorry, thought I had to preface. And it's like, that's so true. Like, I never picked it up again, and I enjoyed it so much. And I remember I had mentioned to my mom, like, oh, I'm gonna buy my own flag to just do it in the backyard, as a hobby. And she was like, you're not in high school anymore. Like, why do you even care about that? Okay, sick, thanks. And I let that get to me and I didn't do it. I still want to. My niece is doing color guard now. She's in high school, and it's so beautiful to see her do all the things that I remember, and it's just like she's gonna remember this for the rest of her life because I do, and it was such a big point, you know? Like, having hobbies is amazing. I don't know why we stop when we're older. Anyways, I think about younger me all the time, you know, the girl who loved to sing and just because it just made her feel alive. You know, she didn't care if it was practical. She didn't ask, will this pay my bills? She asked, do I love this? Do I love this? And that's so important. And I feel like somewhere along the way I stopped asking myself that question, and now I'm trying to unlearn this idea that my worth is tied to productivity and, you know, what I do, I don't know, in my day-to-day 9 to 5, that rest has to be earned and that joy has to make sense to other people before it's allowed. Because why do we treat happiness as like a side quest in our storyline? What? And I think that's just an America problem too, but well, you know, I also think living at home has made this extra complicated because, you know, I love my parents and I'm grateful for their support, and it's really hard to become fully yourself when you're still living in the version of you that they know best, if that makes sense. Like, when their expectations are always in the room, even when they're not trying to be, and it's like I'm playing a role I outgrew, and everyone's confused why I want to rewrite my script. If Ariana Grande, you think you've read the book I'm still writing. You get me? And if you're listening to this and you're feeling the same way, like you're stuck between who you were raised to be and who you're becoming, I see you, and that in between space is uncomfortable, but it's honest. It means you're waking up, and I don't have all the answers. I never claim to. I don't even have a 5-year plan, honestly, but I barely have a next month plan. But what I do have is this quiet decision that I'm making for myself. I'm done abandoning myself to keep the peace. You know, this year isn't about having everything figured out. It's about listening to yourself and trying and letting yourself want what you want without immediately shutting it down out of fear or practicality. It's about taking those small steps forward and toward a life that feels like yours, even if it doesn't look impressive from the outside, from other people. Because success without fulfillment is just burnout, like coated in something nice, if that makes sense. So here's my reminder to you for this new year that you're allowed, and to myself, that you're allowed to change, and that you're allowed to disappoint people, and you're allowed to want more. Even if you can't explain why or what yet, if you have that feeling, like, go with it. Especially this year, I'm turning 25, and I'm like, my frontal lobe, is it gonna develop? Because I'm freaking out. Like, this is your life. It's not a resume, it's not a highlight reel, and it's not a story someone else gets to tell for you. And maybe choosing yourself doesn't happen all at once, but maybe it's a series of quiet moments until you finally say, actually, I want something different. And I think that's enough to start. Right? Right, team? Well, I think that's my mindset right now. And as confusing as it sounds, jumbled, I think that's the point of this podcast, why I wanted to start this. It's kind of like a video diary to myself in hopes that not only does it help me, but it helps other people. Because I think that hearing someone speak something that you're thinking, or you may be thinking, it kind of gives us a push, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not the only one. I knew I wasn't. Oh yeah. You know, try to enjoy this year. Really take that time for yourself. Pick up that new hobby. Pursue something different. If you want to live somewhere else, start saving the money. By the end of the year, you could have a good amount. Little steps. No, January 1st, all right, let's change it all. No, little steps. Take your time. Really get to know yourself. It's so important. Knowing yourself. Really being comfortable with yourself and in the silence of the not knowing. Okay? All right. Happy New Year, everyone. And I hope you have a great one. And I hope you make it everything that you want. Even, really quick, last note. And this is more for me, but maybe someone else could hear it. Even if something bad happens, even if you have the worst day of your life, worst month of your life, worst 3 months of your life, don't let that stop you. Everyone has hard days. If you have a perfect day every day, you're not human. There's no way. Even if you have a bad hour a day, that's human. A bad 5 minutes. If every single second of your life was perfect, you're not human. So if something bad happens or something that you feel is the end of the world, get up, dust yourself off, learn from it, and see how we can make it better in the future. Okay? Alright. Love you guys. Have a good rest of your day and a happy new year once again. Bye-bye.